We appear to be rolling.
Okay.
So, can you tell us who you are?
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm one half of who's known as Etheric Alchemy, and we've been working with Orgone now for 8.5 years.
And can you explain Orgone to us in a couple of sentences?
In a couple of sentences. The Eastern mystics call it prana, chi. Wilhelm Reich came over to the West, and he was the first Western scientist, and he basically termed it Orgone. But it's the same, same form of energy. It's a biological energy.
What is it? I see you've got some
these are the generators,
machines and bits and pieces
here.
These are the what do they generate?
They generate a positive Orgone energy field, whereas negative Orgone is basically anything that's been affected by an electromagnetic field.
Is it like magnetism in the sense that it's a field that we can't see?
Yes, it's measurable by Kirlian. It's also measurable by dowsing. And you can also measure it with dowsing rods.
Okay.
And clairvoyants can see the energy.
Does it affect us in any way at all?
Basically what it will do is it will pull any form of radiation out of your body and then basically replace positive ions into the atmosphere.
Sounds like a fair exchange.
Yep.
Now, I'm an amateur student of astronomy and astrophysics. Quite a lot of what they say can be expressed mathematically. Is anything about Orgone expressible in maths?
The only way I could actually possibly being it measured is if, this was done in Ireland actually, a couple of students put one of these devices into a radiation chamber and fired radiation into it, and then the measurements that were taken afterwards, and there was no radiation in there, and they couldn't figure out where it went. They didn't have the maths to figure it out.
They would have been able, hopefully, to measure what was there before and what was missing and account for it.
But there was nothing to count afterwards.
X minus X equals 0.
Yeah, but there was just a 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what use is it? I mean, I may have some radiation, like I have some bacteria, but apparently,
sure. I mean,
I'm walking about.
We're affected by radiation because of mobile telecommunication systems. You've got your police communication systems. You've got emergency services communication systems. You've got your mobile phone communication systems. Now, all these systems are actually based on one antenna, which is your mobile phone mast, and they're everywhere. And you've got Wi-Fi. Now, once these signals transmit through your atmosphere, what these signals do is, because they have power behind them, they're basically mechanically transmitted, they knock off electrons from the air molecules. And then that air molecule then turns from a healthy state of Orgone to dead Orgone energy. And then that is ineffectively radiation.
And that's bad for us?
Well, radiation's bad.
Yeah. If all of this is happening, though, can you explain how the population of Britain is living increasingly longer? The population of the world's headed for 7 billion, and there's never been more life on planet Earth ever than there is now, according to the fossil record.
Okay. Well, the introduction of all this technology has only been very recent. And it's been now published in 3 major newspapers, although be it small sections halfway through, that mobile phones develop cancer.
I know that's fairly well understood, and obviously the strength of the radiation is a factor. I'm not suggesting that any of it's good for you, just like there's no smoke that's good for you.
Sure.
Obviously, in some people's opinion, there's some smoke that's nicer than others. And so, you know, continuing with that analogy, some radiation, or certain levels, isn't necessarily harmful, and potentially some people would say has, you know, a use for us. What can we do with Orgone, and what could I, you know, do with it in my life?
Well, with the generators themselves, what they'll do is they generate vast amounts of negative ions.
These are these,
yes,
even these
the generators here,
things here that they don't look like they would make anything.
If you take a look here, we have Kirlian photographs of the energy fields coming from the devices themselves. Now, the camera used to take these pictures measures electromagnetic fields around living biological items.
So these are emanating an Orgone field as
which
we
is
speak.
negatively charged.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's doing good,
doing
or
the environment,
relatively speaking, it's taking some of the bad energy away.
Yeah, and giving back a more healthier form of Orgone energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it all sounds very positive, and I wish you luck. If I could ask you a couple of questions from the FKN Newz community, given there's a certain feeling amongst some people that there are a great deal of problems in the world. What would you say is the biggest problem or problems on Earth at the moment?
One of them's television.
Yeah.
And the second one is it's easier to be skeptical than it is to be positive.
Okay, and what are the solutions, or do you have a plan on what to do about these things?
Stay positive.
It's fairly simple and straightforward.
Well, yeah.
And would you be happy to take our voodoo test?
Go on then.
Okay, let me start you with, is the world flat?
No.
Does the Earth go round the Sun?
Yeah.
Is the universe 13.7 billion years old?
I don't believe it is.
How old do you think the universe is?
I don't know.
Okay, but, all right. Is there any life for a person after you die?
Absolutely.
Where is that?
Anywhere you like.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like personally, if I would like to spend eternity with some dancing girls.
Well, you go to Venus, there's plenty over there.
Yeah. And final question, is there anything immutable about a law of physics? Or are they immutable? Are the laws of physics?
By principle, they're theories.
But are not the laws of physics laws?
As far as we know, yeah, but then how do you explain discs floating in the air silently, seen by thousands of people?
Well, I couldn't without seeing the evidence, or having. But
not seen
I
that?
would say that if it obeys Newton's laws of physics, then that's fine, and if it doesn't, then we'd have to invent some new science.
Yeah.
But I'm all for inventing new science, because that would appear to be the way of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
We just invent new science when we need to. But what I'm suggesting is, at the moment, it's never been shown anywhere, as far as I'm aware, that Newton's laws of motion can be breached. Ever.
Well, it's like the second law of thermodynamics. I mean, that is automatically put on its head the moment you see a disc floating silently in the sky.
Yeah, but discs, I could project a disc in the sky. A disc could be a disc of light. I could throw a frisbee in the air and you could see it. There can be an awful lot of explanations for a disc in the sky.
How about black triangles?
Black triangles, a stealth bomber.
TR3BA?
Many of these things, although of interest to me, are outside my personal experience.
Okay.
And in that my senses are not reliable, it's surely the process of science includes building devices that measure for us, because we can't rely on our senses.
Yeah.
I myself have had a lot of hallucinations. I wouldn't believe anything I perceive, ever. Really, I wouldn't. I'd want a whole load of independent measurements before I'm convinced of anything, because my own senses are not to be believed. Would you put your faith in your senses?
Oh, absolutely.
Rather than any measuring device that's independent
I'd use both.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for talking to the fucking news. See you on YouTube.
Thank you.
Cheers.